Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm fine, good
I
evening.
like the copy, Ikolili.
Thank you.
A good son of Lagos.
I'm an ambassador
You're an ambassador.
of Lagos.
Okay. Tell us a bit about your background then.
Okay, my name is Tokunbo Wahab. I was born over 5 decades ago.
Okay.
I was born 17th of May 1972. My both parents are late. Started my early childhood in Rivers State, Port Harcourt to be precise. And then moved back to Lagos. Attended the now Moshood Abiola Polytechnic in Abeokuta, where I studied mass comm. And I studied law, eventually University of Benin, law school. Went into practice as a lawyer. And what else? And now I'm in public service. I came into public service in 2019, August, when Mr. Governor invited me to join his team. And then I was in education as a special advisor to the Governor on Education. And after the re-election of Mr. Governor, to be precise, on the 13th of September 2023, we got sworn in, and I found myself here in Environment and Water Resources. I'm married, and I've got 2 children, a boy and a girl.
How was it like surviving without your parents?
For me, it's like everything in life. It's a journey. It was a low moment for myself and my siblings, but also strengthened our faith in God and ourselves. That you can't afford to give up. Life goes on. Here we are today.
Would you call yourself lucky? Or would you say that you're blessed or you really worked hard to get where you are now?
What do you call luck? Luck for me is preparation meets opportunity. So I rather say I'm a child of grace. I rather call it a child of grace. God has been very fair and good to me and my family. God has been very awesome to me and my family. So, if you call that luck, fine. But I call it grace.
So you're a successful lawyer. Why did you accept the appointment?
You see, one of my creeds in life is you get to a stage in life, you must leave your comfort zone to heed to the call of greater humanity. We can't keep complaining about things not being okay in the society. We can't keep saying things are not being done properly. And we know for a fact that nature abhors vacuum. So, invariably, you must be able to offer a better service if you think you can better the lot of those people that are there. So, for me, it was a tough decision, yes. But it was something I am glad I chose to do. It's a huge sacrifice. And that is what life itself is all about. Imparting life is about making sacrifices for people. So, for me, that's what we're doing in public service.
Speaking of tough decisions, what's the toughest decision you ever had to make? In life, in business, in politics?
In life, really, it has to do with when my daughter had to tell me she wasn't going to study law. It was one of my toughest moments as a father, because I wanted them to be happy, and then I must have a balance with respect to the realities of the time. And after she had said to me, we all prepped her up that she's going to be a great lawyer and stuff, That's some of the toughest things I have to accept. And I am so glad that I chose to let her study what she had always said she wanted to do after not studying law. That I supported her, I encouraged her. I've seen my daughter blossom and happy. That gives me joy that money can't quantify. In public service, one of my toughest decisions actually had to do with when we have to remove some contraventions on System 44. Some of those properties are owned by highly placed members of my family, of my party. Threats were made and blackmail, a whole lot of pressure. It was tough, but the overriding public interest kept us going. As an attorney, you see, law itself it's not a profession, it also has a business leg to it. One of my toughest decisions as an attorney was to turn down some briefs. Those briefs were conflicting with my values. They were highly rewarding in terms of monetary terms, but with terms of value, they were conflicting with the values I owed so much in high esteem. So I had to take those tough decisions. And looking back today, with the benefit of hindsight, I have no regrets for each and every one of those decisions I took, personally, professionally, and with respect to public service.
You're the Commissioner of Environmental Water Resources, and if there's anything you're known for on social media, people would say it's demolition houses. And now people have termed you as a bad person. Do you think you're a bad person?
I don't think so. And my take is, if people are happy that you're doing something, that means something is wrong somewhere. If you have to do what is tough, you also need to understand that some people would not be happy with it. And you have to put it in a context and a background. I don't demolish houses. The law doesn't allow me to demolish houses. I remove whatever is impeding the free flow of water, storm water or rainwater, which invariably means if you build on a canal path on the right of way, that can cause flooding that will destroy homes, destroy lives, destroy properties like what they have witnessed in Dubai, recently in Kenya and Brazil. The law allows me to remove it for overriding public interest. Now, you see, people over the years have learned to be badly behaved. And they always have this brazen attitude that they can get away with it and nothing will happen. And here comes somebody that believes we can't go on this trajectory. And then we complain every year and abuse government that there is flooding. There will always be flooding because you people are the ones causing flooding. So we had to remove those properties. Painfully, we had to do them. But we're doing them for overriding public interest. That is what it's all about in public service. Few people are profiteering with bad behavior. So we have a choice to say to ourselves, should we let it be? Business as usual? Or we do the right thing and we reset that button? It's a tough job. But somebody has to do that tough job.
In layman language, speak to us as if you're speaking to people who are selling tomato and pepper in the market. What really happened at Mendy, Maryland?
What really happened at Mendy, Maryland was a question of a decision that has been made before I even became a commissioner here. And somebody had to implement it. As far back as 2007. No, let me go back to the background. As far as 1974, Systems 1 Odo Yalaro was gazetted with its right-of-way setback by the former military governor, administrator of Lagos State, General Mobolaji Johnson. 1974, I was barely 2 years old. That was 50 years ago. Over the years, people chose to encroach on those right of way. With respect to Mende Villa specifically, don't forget there are other axes around that Mende corridor, Arawo Jobe, Sholui, and everything. But let's just narrow down Mende Villa. The man approached the government to use the leftover after the construction of System 1 Odialaro for a construction he wants to do, to add it to his own land, and he will regularize the title and everything. And the letter from the Surveyor General in 2011, 28th of March, if I'm right, or 18th of March, said this person had applied to lands. He's now applying to Surveyor General's office that he wants to use this leftover land after the construction of Systems 1. So the question is, that land belongs to government. It's within the right of way of System 1. And there's a presumption there will be a construction that had been done. That construction was not even started until Governor Sanwo-Olu came in and they started that construction from Okpebi with that bridge by Julius Berger still ongoing, linking Okpebi to Ojota and then Maryland through Arojobi, through that System 1 axis. So there was no land he ought to have annexed. He annexed it. And he was sitting right inside Systems 1. In 2021, there was a major flooding in the state. Mende was taken over by flood. Arawojo Besholi was flooded. My predecessor in office, Mr. Tunji Bello, served them a notice that they must, with one, and that they must take the right of way to open up that channel. In 2022, a contract was duly awarded for the midstream and the downstream of that Systems 1. But they threw up emotions, they didn't allow them to go to site to do the job. And the flooding was so intense. There were pictures. We came in last year. They had served them notices before I came in. But because of my legal background, I said, no, serve them notices again. Invited all of them to meetings. And we met. The meeting we had, I'm glad, the House of Assembly member representing Koshofe constituency, Honorable Okola, came with them at the conference room here in the office. We played the video, we showed them everything. And they agreed. They now pleaded that we should reduce the width for the right of way. I said, I don't have that power. It's recorded. There's only the government that can do it. So the notices expired and they said they're going to start enforcement. I said they should wait. I went there again myself to meet with the residents on a Sunday in April. I think that should be the last Sunday in April. After the meeting, we said we have to enforce this and we explain everything to them. Because once the rain starts, we'll have a major flooding here. And I went back to the governor. I got his approval with EXCO that we should reduce the weight. Instead of 140 to take out, we would have taken out the whole of Mende Villa. We would have removed because it was right in the middle, and then we would have taken a 140 from the edge. The governor said no. He now approved 100. That 140 should be on the other side of Ogudu, where we have a scheme. They got a housing scheme, Ogudu Villa. And then 60 should be on this side. We came to communicate that and started the removal. And they started blackmailing government. Typical way for most of those developers. But when you are in this kind of a space, you should expect that kind of a heat, or else you have to leave the kitchen. It started raining first week of April, heavily. We've seen heavy rainfall in Lagos. And I'm glad we've not witnessed the kind of flood we witnessed in the past. Because we choose to address issues that have to do with deflooding the states, open up right of ways for the water, storm water, clean up the drainages, clean up the canals, And we keep doing that all year round. And won't allow some individuals to put the lives of 22 million Lagosians at risk. That is the bigger picture nobody's talking about. I say to people, if Dubai, with the superstructure in the desert, could get flooded last year, November, December, badly flooded. Kenya, Brazil, United States, we are a coastal state. Don't forget, we are at the edge of the tributary from the flow of water from Oshun River and the dam. And then we are just a meter above sea level. This is an existential question. What we have to do is nature will take its course, but we can mitigate the impact of nature by putting in place infrastructure that are resilient enough. And that's what we're trying to do. And we can't do those things without hurting some individuals. It will be painful. But if you look at the bigger picture, you understand where we're going and where we're coming from.
Okay. There's been, I do agree with them also, that most of these lands are being allocated to these developers by the government. They have the government consent, you know. They've said, go ahead. You can go ahead and build whatever you want to build on it. Now, those people have gone ahead with the government backing, and now they're saying your project is on the wrong. I don't know what the term is now.
Let me be very honest with you. Most of them don't have approvals.
You think most of those developers don't have?
I have challenged them from Ikota down to Isolo, down to Apapa, down to Aboru, down to Command, down to Mero, down to Ikodu, down to Epe, and down to Ikoyi, down to Lekki. Show me a complete approval for most of them that we are taking and removing those contraventions from. You see, the approval process is a long process that involves not just my ministry. It involves Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development. Ministry of, if it's a reclaimed land, it involves Ministry of Waterfront Development. Now, for a ministry like ours, when it comes to approval, they will refer you to this place to get a drainage clearance certificate. Now, that drainage clearance certificate, we look at your survey, we'll juxtapose it with the master plan for the area to be sure of two things. Do you have a primary channel there, or do you have a secondary collector there? For a primary channel, they will look at the width, the setback that you must allow for that primary channel. For a secondary collector, they will look at the width. Is it 2 or 3 meters to the collector to allow for proper cleaning and maintenance of those channels. But what those developers usually do, with due respect to most of them, greed, profiteering, and brazen bad behavior, those three things combined, they will come in for approvals. They will start flying coordinates. Meaning, if your approval should be for this size, they will get it. They will now move that same approval to cover what is not covered in the approval given to them. They will go beyond the approval limits given to them. I will not exonerate some individuals. Maybe 1 or 2 bad eggs, encourage them. But I have said it severally and I'll repeat it. The best of our people are in the Lagos State Civil Service. I have worked with them for about 4.5 years. Upright, intelligent, dynamic individuals. It doesn't mean there won't be 1 or 2 bad eggs here. Even the 12 that Jesus Christ was with disciples, one of them was a Judas. So you find that in those kind of things. But I can assure you, most of them don't have approvals. Those that have approvals go beyond the limit of their approval. Or they will start the process for the approval and they will not obtain the complete approval process. And they will go ahead and build. Or they will go and build and come in for approval retrospectively and pay fines. Doesn't make it right. Look, no government will wake up in a day and choose to remove contraventions that are duly approved. And why do you think they're not taking us to court? If really and truly they have approvals, why are they not taking us to court? Because most of them don't have approvals. Those that go beyond the limit of their approvals. Ikota, System 44, we removed over 80 houses because they even built to cover the canal. And we challenge them. If you have approval, come forward with your approval. None of them. None of them. This Mende, I have challenged all of them, including Mende Villa. Come with the proper approval if you have one. It's not just about brandishing documents that you can't tie together. We are not nitwit here. For the whole of our job, we have asked them. They don't have it. Because government will not even approve for you. If you are sitting on the right of way, they will not. It's not that we have said, okay, if now that we have reduced the width to a 60, they can come forward and regularize their documents for their own sake and for the future purpose. So, it's a total misconception. Painting the government as the devil for doing what is right. And until the lion learns to tell his own story, people will believe the story of the hunter. That's what has happened here. And it's been happening over time. But it's enough of that bad press. We won't allow it go without answering them and debunking it. Or I won't in my own ministry.
What is the future of real estate in Lagos?
It's very bright, but people should stick to the rules of engagement. It's very, very bright. Look, you choose to do a real estate business in a place like Lagos. Lagos is cosmopolitan, is welcoming, is warm. It's a melting pot for this country. Now, you bought a land that is 1 acre. You do your layout. It's not enough to just wait there. You get your approval, and everything is fine. They approve that you should do 20 units. Why must you go and do a 50 units? Why must you put profit over a process? All of us desire a great system, a great developed country. But those countries don't develop out of lawlessness. What makes development is deliberate planning and law and order. Oh, they talk about Rwanda and Singapore. They didn't just become developed overnight or by wishful thinking of some individuals. They developed because they were able to enforce their law. In Singapore, by the way, you can't eat chewing gum. You can't. You can't throw your debts on the road. You can't. They are enforcing the law. In Rwanda, the same thing. You can't come with a plastic bottle. They are enforcing their law. They are trying to save the environment. Yeah, people willfully and wickedly choose to cover a canal path. Deliberately. That's the painful part. They are deliberate about it because they want to make profits. People wake up and they say to themselves, you know what, I'm going to do that thing. And nothing's going to happen. Until there are consequences attached to bad behavior, you can't be developed. Forget it. That would be wishful thinking. There must be consequences for bad behavior. You wake up, you drive against traffic. Who does that except a mad person? It's true. Do you think those persons are abroad? They don't like driving against traffic. But they know the consequence. They will take your license. They will send you to jail. You have a brain reset immediately. It's the consequence that makes them fear and comply and comport and behave well. How will you wake up and you take your dirt and you pour it into a drainage? Who does that? It's hard to develop. And now, if we now arrest such a person and we prosecute and they convict the person, they will say, this government is hard. No. We're not doing anything outside the law. We're just enforcing the law. So let us put it in proper context. The future of real estate in Lagos is extremely bright. People are building and they are building well without contraventions. Go around Ikoyi, go around GRA, go around Lekki. But some of them are also giving them bad names because they want to make profit at the expense of every other person in that ecosystem.
Do you think Lagos would ever be anything close to Dubai or other developed countries?
Lagos will be greater than most of them. And I will explain it to you.
Please do.
I'll start with Dubai. What's the population of Dubai? Dubai is less than 5 million people. Plus the visitors, plus the citizens, less than 5 million. Dubai is a city-state. You can't go into Dubai without a visa. Lagos is a state in Nigeria. You don't require a visa to come into Lagos. People come in every day of their life and they're coming to stay. All we're asking them to do is get a last track card, register, so we can plan for you the way they plan for development in other parts of the world. But people find it difficult to do those things. Lagos is a resilient city that never sleeps. What we've been doing is ramping up infrastructure that open up other areas in the states. In the past few years, we've had a blue line to open up Lagos West Corridor from Lagos Central. The past few months, we commissioned the red line to move passengers and decongest the road. That's how you plan development. Today alone, the governor launched about 14 or above, boats to open up more investment on the waterways. It's a multimodal approach. Now, that is how development comes. It's a deliberate, painstaking approach. It's not by magic. It won't come by magic. I tell people that say, oh, London, I said, go to London too. Go to underground Piccadilly. 18-something, it was commissioned. But they didn't stop at that. It will take you to a route. Then they now have other routes that have to come up. That's how you plan development. How old is Lagos State? Lagos State was created in 1967. And we're doing all these great things. Lagos, with just a population of 3,577 square meter of land, is housing 10% of this country's population. Come on. You should commend this state. Why can't you ask them to give us a special status as a state? Because virtually everybody in any part of this country have a relative in Lagos. The smallest landmass with the highest number of population. And we are still growing. We are still providing infrastructure, building hospitals, building road, building schools, with 3 universities. Come of it. We're on the right trajectory. And it's a matter of time. So I am so certain this state will be greater than most of those states you've mentioned, those developed states you've mentioned. What's the big deal about New York? New York has been there for centuries. New York is dirty. It's living on past glory. They have shanties everywhere. Go to LA. Big shanties in LA. It's not even in Baltimore, in Maryland, all those things. So they have their own peculiarities. But I can assure you, Lagos, in the next few years, will be much more ahead of most of them on this trajectory we are on. And because there's a master plan, there's a developmental master plan that is being followed. We're not dropping the ball on it. And we are very meticulous about our approach. We're building the biggest food hub in this sub-Saharan Africa. Have you forgotten? Commend us now. We have a Lekki free trade zone. You have a refinery with our small land mass. Think about the futuristic nature of those that have been saddled with the responsibility of governing the states. And that is how you bring about development. So I'm totally 101% convinced that we will be greater than most of those cities you talk about.
Speaking of historic developments, yesterday we went to the Waste of Wealth event and with the governor, and you spoke about how historic that event is. What makes it historic? How historic is it?
It's the first time they're having that kind of investment in Africa, anywhere in Africa. Harvest waste. Now, let me give you a background to it. Lagos generates between 13,000 and 14,000 tons of waste a day. That's humongous. And now we have a company that has over time proven that you can convert waste to energy, to power. And their government, the Dutch government, is putting a seal of authority behind that investment of over $140 million US. And it's coming to Lagos. That tells you something, that we're doing something right. That also takes away part of our municipal solid waste as it converts it to energy. Before now, we had signed an MOU with an African company that will convert part of that same waste to wealth. Compost fertilizer, recyclable plastics, and stuff like that. So we are on the right trajectory, and it's historic for us. So for when you see nationals, other countries deliberately coming to invest, they see what you don't see. They're not just doing it because they have money to throw into it. They are doing it because they have done their painstaking research, and they know it's the way to go. And on that corridor, you're going to have the airport. Don't forget. You have the film city going up there. You have the food up there. You have Alaro City there. You have a lot of real estate development on that same corridor. Lekki corridor. Yeah. Then you have a refinery there. Come off it now. That's the future. And Lagos is doing that rightly.
You mentioned earlier that you received threats and blackmails.
It comes to the terrain.
So how have you been able to handle that?
I'm a God-fearing person. I'm a child of God.
Pray.
I pray, I fast, I watch and pray.
You watch and pray?
Yeah, that's what the Bible says.
Handle the threats and
I watch and pray. That's what the Bible says. Watch and pray.
Has it been a direct threat, a physical threat? Or
yes.
There's been?
Yes. But it doesn't bother me.
Would you give us a scenario?
No, don't worry. Don't worry. Don't forget I schooled in Benin.
Oh!
Don't necessarily panic me.
Okay. I'll ask you a question concerning your youthful days. Your
Yeah.
days as a youth compared to, the way the youths live these days. What difference is there?
Times have changed. And times have totally changed. And I'm really very worried. Growing up, it takes a village to raise you. Even in your street, in your area, they will call you out if it's something wrong. They will reprimand you. They'll come and report to your parents. You can't come home with whatever is not yours from school. You are in trouble. You dare not. Now, parents are conniving with children, their children, to do what is wrong. They support them wrongly. The values are gone. And those are the values that keep society together. They hold the fabric of society. And I think it's high time our religious houses revert to what the Bible and the Quran preaches. Values. And parents also have a duty. Family have a strong duty, a strong role to play. We can't, because we want material gains, throw away the baby with the bathwater. We are creating a society that we're not going to be proud of in the next few years if we are not careful. And we need to be very drastic about our decisions. We've lost our values. We've lost our moral compass. And we must find a way to get it back. We've placed money and material things over everything that we should hold sacrosanct. And it's a bit scary. It's scary, yeah.
You're a successful man, a very successful man.
I don't know how you define my success.
So what does success mean to you then?
You said so. I don't know what you mean by success.
The law. You're a successful lawyer?
It depends on your context.
Okay, I think I should ask you what success means to you first.
You say your own context of success.
I'm the one asking the question.
I can ask
I'm
you.
the one asking the question.
I can ask you too.
So you tell me what does success mean to you?
You see, success is a journey for me. And it's just a journey just like life. It's something you keep aspiring for. It's not a means in itself. It's a means to touch lives, impact lives. And the more lives you impact, the more successful you are. That's my own context.
How did you make your first million?
By a brief, by a legal brief. And the client paid well.
What age?
I was in my 20s.
Oh, wow. So
Yeah, I was in my 20s.
that's brilliant.
Yeah, I was in my 20s.
Okay, I'm coming back to real estate to ask you two questions. The first question is, people whose projects have been taken down, are they compensated?
It depends. Compensation is not given because you want to give compensation. Compensations are grounded on your rights and your documentation. You can't put something on nothing, it will not stand. You must have something that you can use to prove that, look, actually, yes, maybe they gave me this approval, maybe they now came to review for variety public interest, maybe the cost of giving me the approval, they never factored that there should be an alignment or a right of way here. My right preceded the right of way. That can generate a compensation. But if you have no approval, you have no title, you built on an alignment part, or a right of way, or a canal part, on what basis should we grant you compensation? So we must distinguish this. So people can apply for compensations if their property had been removed, and then it will be treated on a case-by-case basis.
Okay. And for the government officials that accept bribes before they allocate?
Good. That's a good question. This system is very strong and very dynamic. The system usually punishes them. But you see, people also should learn to come up and report incidents. If you've given somebody something rightly or wrongly and now it's causing you pain, you also have an obligation to yourself. So, you know what? This person, you actually did this. This was what happened. Now, the civil service structure will go ahead and investigate. If the person is found culpable, it will end there. They will sack the person. They will now hand him over to the prosecutorial, but the prosecutorial agency, the police to investigate and do their own work. The civil service will not do that for you. So, but how many of these persons come forward? How many of them?
So you're saying nobody has come forward to say, oh, this person...
Well, I've not seen any in this ministry. I've been here for eight months plus. I've not.
What's your advice to the Real Estate Developers Association of
as a body, the Real Estate Developers Association of Nigeria should endeavor to enlighten their members, encourage their members to stick to the rules. As legitimate business people, they should let their members get the requisite approvals from government, from your drainage clearance to the building plan approval, and everything you have to do. And they should also let them know that profiteering is not the right way to run a business. In the short term, you're happy. But in the long run, you're causing a damage, not just to yourself, to your business reputation and the organization. We as a state, we are open for business. We will keep working with them as a body. But we won't do it at the expense of 22 million Lagosians. They should do the right thing at all times.
How would you rate Godma's salary?
Boss, my boss, the captain of my own team, some of the best I've ever worked with. And his work rate, this is 5th year, speaks volume for him. In Latin, they call it res ipsa loquitur. The fact speaks for itself. And I keep wondering where he gets his energy from. And he's a fantastic human being. He's a good man. Very good man. If I come again, I'll still want to work with him. If I'm chanced, I'll still want to work with him. That tells you the kind of person he is. He's a team player. And you see, when you find a man that easily manages 44 ESCO members from different backgrounds, and he has a balance on his team, tells you he has something he's doing right. So I wish him the best.
And the president?
The president. The president is such a fantastic person. You need to understand the situation of the country when he took over this time last year. And what he's been able to put in place. The big elephant in the room then was the issue of subsidy. And I'm glad virtually all major candidates agreed that it must go. His own emotional intelligence also helped him to balance it out. He removed it. Yes, but everywhere in the world, there are always interventions, one way or the other, from the government to create palliative for its citizens. And he's done that to stabilize us. He just spent a year stabilizing his country. If you know his trajectory when he was governor for 8 years, the way he met Lagos, how he was able to turn Lagos around, give him the next few years, you see what we're talking about him. So, for me, I'm at peace. We're on the right course with President Tinubu.
Do you have challenges
Do I have challenges?
in the government's house?
Aye. Do I have challenges? We all do have those normal challenges because of working for government. For me, there are no challenges that are not resolvable. I believe in superior arguments. I will sit down with structure I work with. I'm just a political head. Why are we not doing this thing this way? Can we do this thing better? If there is superior arguments, we follow superior arguments. I have 2 permanent secretaries I work with. I have GMs of MDAs. I have MDs of agencies. I have executive secretary. I have directors that I experience more than I. So I read a lot and I listen to them. And whatever we agree to do, we move into it together as a team. So I don't see challenges. I see opportunities.
We're almost done. We're almost rounding off. So I'm going to ask you this very important question.
Okay.
I read somewhere that in your youth days, you were referred to as the ladies' man. Women were attracted to you. I'm sure I heard that
Right.
the more successful you are, the more the ladies flock around. How are you able to handle that?
I don't know about that, honestly.
You don't know what I'm talking about.
Not. Honestly, no. For me, you see, you have to be very disciplined in life. You have to be very disciplined. I repeat it. In caps, in bold, italics, and underlined. You must be very disciplined in life to go far. And that's the path I've chosen. I see them as distractions. I don't have time for distractions. I have friends. I keep my friendship, but I draw a limit. I draw a line. And that line is what has kept me going. So hope that answers your question.
It does.
Thank you very
You're a
much.
Muslim, right?
Huh?
You're a Muslim.
I'm a Christian.
You're a Christian.
Yeah, I'm an Anglican.
Oh, okay. I thought you were a Muslim.
I have a Muslim background. Typical Lagos family, Muslim, Christians. We don't distinguish.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, madam.
One last question. If you leave the government,
If
if you leave
yes,
the government, what would you say that you would look back on and say, I'm glad I did that? I have no regrets.
have you heard this Frank Sinatra song? I did it my way. That's one of my best. I don't do things I have measures. Except I'm not convinced. Once I'm convinced, I put myself into it. And I'll do it the right way. So that's why I do everything that has to do with me. I do it as though my life depends on it. Do it well. And like Martin Luther said, if you're a street sweeper, do it so well that the host of heavens will know, oh, there was a street sweeper here. He passed by this place. So whatever you're doing, whatever God has given you to do it extremely well, that you stand out as one of the best at that thing you ever did.
The message to the citizens.
The message. Yes, we might have taken some painful decisions, but they should not see it from the personal perspective of anybody trying to win chunt anybody. Flood doesn't know your tribe, doesn't know your religion, doesn't know your creed, doesn't know your tongue, not the color of your skin. It's a cause of nature. And as a coastal state that is having existential question of we're going under in the next blah blah blah, some years Lagos will go under, we must do our best for the good of the greater number of our people to ensure that this state doesn't get flooded because of the humongous damage flooding will cause. Climate change is real. Global warming is real. The least we can do is mitigate the impact by taking ownership of our environment. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time, sir.
Thank you very much, madam.